We're going to start with roll call. Commissioner Yower.
Here.
Commissioner Rosales.
Here.
Judge Shaw's here. Commissioner Schindel.
Here.
Commissioner Hummel.
Here.
Carol Spacey with the County Clerk's Office. Please stand and join us in opening prayer and stay standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thanks for all of our blessings. Thanks for the freedom we enjoy. We ask you to be with us today as we make decisions for the county. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 5 is citizens to be heard.
Okay, I do have a few. Karen Opiella.
Good morning. I just wanted to come and speak before you. First of all, I've been kind of out of touch, so I wanted to let you know that I'm back. I was on medical leave for a while, so I do know that I may have missed some things. But also, while recently, the main reason I wanted to talk to you today is recently the San Antonio River Authority hosted what we call a regional watershed summit. And of course, Mr. Yower did represent the county there, so he was there. And we had sent out invitations, invited all of county, city, all of the officials as well as higher up staff. And what we're looking to gain with these type of summits is just to get, overall information from all of the elected officials as well as the staff of the different types of assistance that the San Antonio River Authority can give, as well as to make sure that you guys have the most up-to-date information. And so just was asked to report to you a little bit that came out of that summit. Of course, during that summit, we did talk about regional watershed planning as well as master planning for the watershed. Also speaking at the program was the soil water conservation, the groups that they talked about, some of the programs that they're working on to also assist in especially in water quality problems. Specifically, I know that they did talk about the hog out and those types of things. We talked about the hydraulic fracturing ponds, and we're checking on those to make sure that you will have the information that you would like to have from that. When we'll be getting back with everybody on those questions that were raised there. Some of the questions that were raised in regard to the fracturing ponds were whether or not they're impacting the floodplains, excuse me, and whether they're being constructed in floodplains, which would be a problem, and whether or not any of that type of reporting is being done to FEMA as it should be. And if they are doing the right paperwork when they're doing any type of construction related to the oil fields and the oil wells. We also talked, of course, about what we call the DFIRMs, which are the digital flood insurance rate maps. There were some questions about how they were developed. We talked about, the fact that we actually had done on-the-ground surveys in most of the regular cities. And then we talked also, of course, about the water quality issues. We want to make sure that we're raising public awareness and have management plans. And then we also obviously just gave the opportunity for everyone in attendance to list any issues or anything that they would like to have. And so some issues that did come out of that. We talked about whether or not this was beneficial, and according to the individuals that were there, and we had just over. Already? Yeah. Wow. Okay, sorry.
But we missed you too.
Thank you.
Maury Charter.
No.
Good morning. We're here to address items 16 and 17 on the agenda. Karnes County Commission Court entering into an agreement with energy transfer into subsidiaries. Abatement of ad valorem taxes is, in fact, an abatement of taxes for the county. You cannot attempt to change the name, or you can attempt to change the name, but it does not in any way change what it is. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's still a duck. You're still trying to do something that, in my opinion, is illegal. Karnes County tax abatement guidelines expired on February 12th of 2010. Karnes County cannot enter into a tax abatement with any entity without those guidelines in effect. Public notice of the proposed abatement was not properly posted. As of last Friday, no application has been filed with the county clerk's office. Improvements have been made by ETP, and by law, they cannot reapply for a tax abatement, or if you wish to call it, an abatement of ad valorem taxes. Who benefits from the tax abatement? ETP, of course. They do not have to pay between $1.5 and $2 million in tax revenue to the county. Jobs? Not really. Less than 20 jobs we brought to this county, and maybe 10 people who live in Karnes County will be hired for any type of a position. The bottom line is Karnes County receives no benefit and loses approximately $1.5 to $2 million per year in tax income. So why is the Commission Court even considering this? This is not in the best interest of the county, and that is your sworn duty. You're under no obligation to do what is best in the interest of ETP. As to PER suggesting we default, we're not in default to anything. And if there's any issue of legality, it is not with Karnes County.
Thank you.
Betty Yarder?
The tax abatement with regard to the guidelines and criteria they expired on February 12, 2012. 2 years is the lifespan of the guidelines and criteria. And the application the only application that I have located in Karnes County with regard to ETP or its subsidiaries is at the appraisal district, not at the county clerk's office, and it was received on June 26th, I believe is the date. It's impossible, or under the circumstances, it's required that you have guidelines and criteria in effect. I have a one-page synopsis of what a tax abatement is, and under 312.002 of the Texas Tax Code, you're required to have the guidelines and criteria in effect at the time that the application is received. And as I said, the only one that I have located is not in the county clerk's office, which is what's required under our guidelines and criteria, if they were in effect at the time. I tried to speak to y'all about this several months ago, and it's critical that you understand that if I spoke with one of the attorneys from the state comptroller's office, and they said that this is in fact not allowed. Illegal was the word that was used to proceed forward with regard to not having guidelines and criteria in effect for the county, because it's required that you have them. If the guidelines and criteria, it says each taxing unit that wants to consider tax abatement proposals must adopt guidelines and criteria for the creation of a reinvestment zone and must hold a public hearing. As well as on the public hearing, it's the documents that accompany that have an error where it says that we have that it was created on March 28, 2010. Those documents were adopted in April 30th of 2012 when we did the resolution for the reinvestment zone. We have 5 abatements in effect, or 4. And we do not have a policeman, so to speak, using that term loosely. We don't have anyone that's going out and checking on these. We are required under the guidelines, or allowed under the guidelines, to have someone appointed.
Ms. Yarder, that's 3 minutes.
Okay.
Any others, Bill?
Thank you, ma'am.
Vineblow?
morning. Jess Williams will be here today, and I was kind of hoping he would be here when I walked up. But just want to talk about the health fair that we had last month. We had a very good turnout. We had 41 participants. Our goal was 40 to help us work toward that 10% reduction in our premiums for next year. So we have started working on that. We normally do about 15 flu shots, and she had several people in the building that were asking for flu shots also. She did almost 40 flu shots. So just wanted to thank the commissioners for allowing us to do that, and all the department heads for allowing their people to come in early so we could eat, because we had to do a fasting. So just wanted to kind of brief you on that a little bit. So we did have a good turnout.
Fine, we'll get like that proposed, that was going to propose the discount for next year.
Yes.
Is a 10%.
And I was hoping Jess would be here to explain it a little bit better, but that's one of the things we needed to do, was to get people involved in the Vitality program, and that's what we needed, at least 40 people, and we had 41. So we're heading toward that goal.
Vi, you signed us all up.
Yes, I did. I dragged you out of your office.
And anybody else? No. The next is the tax collector's report. Is Brenda here?
No, she's at a conference.
She's in college station.
Well, I have a report.
My Alabama pen.
No, I did not.
But I'm glad to go up against it.
In Brenda's absence, she asked me to present her monthly report. First page is the county tax dollars collected year-to-date, $279,024.18. Balance of the current roll, $7,166,740.63. Percentage collected, 3.7474. The delinquent taxes collected year-to-date, $6,987.17. The balance of the delinquent roll, $190,332.02, for a percentage of 3.5410 collected. Next is the Road and Bridge Special. Total taxes collected year-to-date, $66,048.61. The balance of the current roll, $1,713,669.31. The balance, or the percentage of the roll collected, 3.7112. The balance of the delinquent roll is $17,682.79. The total taxes collected year-to-date is $791.07. The percentage collected, 4.2821. The rural fire, total taxes collected year-to-date, $35,133.59. The balance of the current roll, $894,882.17. The percent collected, 3.7777. And on the delinquent, the total taxes collected, $448.09. The balance of the delinquent roll for the rural fire is $8,887.08. And the percent of the delinquent collected year-to-date is 4.8.
Thanks, Luana. Okay, the next one's number 7 is discuss, approve, disapprove the treasurer's report.
Oh, you have us all left.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Usually we're at the end. If you'll turn to page 7 on your report, you'll see a handwritten correction on there. Luana brought that to my attention this morning. Whenever we type checks out of some of our accounts, they're not in triplicates, so therefore we have to make copies of them to give them to the auditor's office to post, and we did not make a copy of the sheriff's office forfeiture fund. So I just had to make a hand correction in there, but the balance at the end stayed the same.
So you're good, you match now, everybody's good to go?
Yes, with that correction.
Did I give you the signed one, Barbara?
You know what, why? Let me look. No, ma'am.
Somebody has to
Here, just
sign
go
one.
sign this one.
I make the motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented with that one correction.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Vi. The next item on the agenda is number 8, is discuss, approve, disapprove fiscal year Chapter 59 asset forfeiture report by the attorney representing the state, the multi-county jurisdiction, the reporting period 9/1/11 to 8/31/12, and allow county judge to certify upon approval. And a lady of tourism, can you put that on there? That's the forfeiture report. I didn't make you guys a copy of it because everything's zeroed out. There's no numbers for y'all to see. You just have to file it by law. That's all I need.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Number 9 on the agenda is discuss, approve, disapprove purchasing a computer for the 911 position, and that's Arthur Tracy Schindel. His new girl's going to need a computer.
Yeah, we got to get us a new computer set up for part of that office. That's the reason we put that on there. ACOG, we met with them and everything, and that's what they told me we needed to do.
We have the money in there, we have to amend for it.
Luana?
I don't have a price quote yet, so I don't know if there is money in the budget, but I don't know if it's adequate to fund what's needed.
Okay.
So until I have costs on the actual computer, I won't know.
So if we have to amend, you'll let us know, right?
Yes.
All righty.
Make a motion to approve purchasing a computer for the 911 position.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries 5-0. Oh, no, sorry, any opposed? Got ahead of myself. Motion carries 5-0. Number 10 on the agenda is discuss, approve, disapprove a contract with ACOG for interim reporting and training for the 911 technician, and that's Tracy again.
I put that on there because ACOG came down the other day, and then they have a person's going to come down and give us 25% of their time to help train a new 911 lady, so we're going to get all that put in. They gave us a figure, I've got it up. I'm not sure how much it is, but we'll just have to do like we did with the computer system and just to make a budget if we need the money. I'll get with Luana on this.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve a contract with ACOG for interim reporting and training for the 911 technician.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just to run out
Sure,
of ink.
sure. Motion carries 5-0. We're going to give James just a second. Hey, James.
Yes, ma'am.
Go around to that door right there. Go around to Sylvia's door right there to the left. Go around the desk by the trash can and open that door. Should have never introduced you to that door. Number 11 is to discuss, approve, disapprove establishing telephone service, entering into a contract with Avaya for phone service at the office building located at 119 North Brown Street, Karnes City, Texas. We call it the Day Building, where Dr. Day's clinic was, and then the Department of Health was in there.
We need to set up, we're planning to move offices into that building, trying to get some repairs done. And so I had Avaya, who does most of our telephone service, come and check out the wires, and they said some of them do not function well. They will still function, they are 5-cat wires, but they appear to have had moisture in them and that they would be giving trouble. So before we go ahead and redo everything, we need to get the phone system set up. So they came up with a price of about $9,700 to redo the phone system completely. And if we do the repairs that we're planning to, that's in the next item now. But anyway, we need to have phone service to have a functional office. So therefore, before we paint it and fix it up, we need to get the phone service going.
I'll make a motion to approve establishing telephone service and entering into a contract with Avaya for phone service at the building located at 119 North Brown Street, Karnes City, Texas.
I say.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 12 is discuss, approve, disapprove amending the budget in the amount of $9,735 for phone service at the building located at 119 North Brown Street, Karnes City, Texas, and that's Pete again. There's a DNA thing right there from Dodds and Associates. That's how much it's going to cost to establish phone service in that building. We have money for repairs, but not phone service.
Okay, I asked them to give us a price on putting 5 lines in there plus a fax line. 1 fax line for the building. Does that sound sufficient? 1 fax machine?
It should be.
Yeah, we have 1 in our building for our entire building, so 1 would suffice.
That'd take care of the internet too.
All right, so,
Yeah, because he's gonna make some changes to their building too.
2 lines for 1 section of the building, 2 lines for another section, and a separate office in front, single line in that. So 5 different lines.
This item here has to fall under unforeseen or emergency, right? And this is something that, the phone lines and all that, we thought the phone lines were good in the building, and so they checked them, they were bad, so that's why we're replacing them now.
Some were good, but some of them were bad, and they said the rest of them probably go bad, so we're replacing them now before we go in there.
And now that the ceilings are gonna be down, it's cheaper to get it all done now.
Right, do it right now, get it done. That's what we came up with.
That's where we're gonna move the 911 off.
Right.
If we get it complete.
But you're right, we didn't know, because that building was, remember they were in there?
Yes.
And then they just moved out. We thought everything was
Everything,
functional,
yeah,
but it's
the
not.
Not the wiring for the telephone.
I make a motion to approve amending the budget in the amount of $9,735 for phone service at the building located at 119 North Brown Street, Karnes City, Texas.
I say it would.
Do we need to include in there that it's unforeseen?
I would,
Just, will you
Due
amend
to
that?
unforeseen
Thank you.
circumstances.
Is that your second, Tracy?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Number 13 is discuss, approve, disapprove repairs to the office building located at 119 North Brown Street, and that's Pete again.
Okay, we looked at the building and tried to see about painting it. Started getting price on painting. And we found out about the telephone. Looked at the ceiling. The ceiling has a bunch of ceiling tile in it that's sagged down, and it has to be primed and painted. And it's still old ceiling. And so we got the telephone line, came up, so went back to it, came up with some price. And I have a sheet in your thing from Tim Yanta here. I had a price from Don Gilly. He said it would take him 5 weeks. He didn't turn in a written sheet. And his price was a little bit more than this for the same thing. And then we added the seating, and Don said, well, I won't give you a price on the seating, I just have to do that by the hour, so he can give a direct competitive bid to this. So, although the price may have been about the same. So, what we have in here is this includes more than half the building. It's the front room, the hallway, 2 offices right behind the reception area. We can get that done right away. All right, then prime the seating, all base primer on this first sheet is paint the ceilings and sand the walls and that, crack, putty all the cracks, paint 2 colors, varnish the doors, replace the return air fields, and patch the floor tile. There's a bare spot on the floor. That price was $6,055. The other one includes all the same painting, but taking the seating out and replacing the tile instead of painting it. And we'll have a new seating in it, and we get the wires up above it for the telephone. And that's $7,754, which is the one I recommend. And we also get a price on covering all the floor tile. That is the asbestos 9x9 floor tiles in there. They can be just covered. You don't have to do the asbestos abatement. You can cover up the tile and do the sand and floor it down and do that for about $2,200. So we have $7,754 plus the $2,200 comes to $9,944. The total price. I do the floor tiles. Of course, we can get by with the floor tiles. Y'all have seen what they look like, I think. Tracy's been there, James has been there. And we can just cover them up now and they'll last for a good number of years. We'll put the floor tile on top of it. So,
Yeah, that's the way to go.
I think we should go with, do what we have to do.
That's the best bid right there.
Right now, yeah. Take the ceiling tile out, get the wires above, and then go ahead and do the floor tile too.
The only thing that I would say, when they remove the ceilings, replace the lights, not to keep those old lights. The only thing is, that would probably jump over. How many lights do you think it has? 8, 10 lights? Something like that, maybe $500 or something, but that would put us over the 10,000. We'd have to amend it for the lights aren't nothing to put up, it's just minutes of work, but I would recommend to put new lights, since we're gonna do everything.
Could lights, $500 or $700 cost come out of
Repairs,
Okay, so we don't have to amend anything for that?
as long as it stays in that range, I wouldn't think
Okay.
so.
So I'd recommend that we do this, do the ceilings, and get it painted, and get that fixed up.
Since we don't have a written paperwork on the 2200, Mr. Busman, do we have to wait for that one from Mr. Yanta, or can we?
What are you missing, the bid?
The bid of the $2,200.
$2,200 is for the floor tile, to cover
Floor tile.
That is his bid?
$2,200.
I know, that's the bid that he gave.
That's for floor tile.
But it's a verbal bid, and so,
Did anybody else bid?
No.
Oh, okay. And how much is it gonna?
We have $10,000 in the budget for the bill, but
That's fine.
that didn't come in.
I don't understand.
Come right in.
Go ahead and give it. Have him just give it to you, yeah.
okay.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the repairs to the office building located at 119 North and Brown Street, Karnes City, Texas, in the amount of $7,754.30 plus $2,200 to do the floor tile for a total of $99.54.30.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Alex. The next item on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove the term of membership to the Board of Directors of the Alamo Area Council of Governments, Barbara Shaw County Judge, and Pete Gower Commissioner. I usually try to go to those, but a lot of times something else falls on the same day, so Pete's been my alternate. And all I'm asking is to reapprove our terms to the board. We have to do that every year and send a
I'll make
copy.
the motion to approve the term of the membership of the Board of Directors of the Alamo Area Council of Government, Barbara Shaw County Judge, and Pete Gower Commissioner.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Number 15, discuss, approve, disapprove appointing Sylvia Cortez as an alternate designation on the Board of Directors for Community Council of South Central Texas, and that's me. And that's the one that we do. I know we're not as familiar with them, they're not as around as much, but they do our meals. We used to call it Meals on Wheels and stuff like that. And they do a lot of stuff with the elderly. And sometimes I'm not able to get to those, and I just want to let Sylvia go if I can't go.
I had a question about that. Do they require being an elected official to go?
No.
It does not have to be an elected official to be anybody within that's employed by the county?
No, it can be, well, yeah.
Or it could even be a citizen, it could be anyone?
We have 2 citizens on the board that we put on the board last year.
Okay.
And we just need I'm on the board of directors, and I have to appoint somebody to go for me if I don't go. I need an alternate.
And it could be anybody, it doesn't have to be one of us here in court or anything like that?
No, we called and asked.
Oh, great, okay.
I just need somebody to bring me the information when I'm not there.
I'll make a motion to approve appointing Sylvia Cortez as alternate or designation on the Board of Directors for the Community Council of South Central Texas.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Number 16 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove an order authorizing the Karnes County Commissioners Court to enter into an agreement with Energy Transfer and its subsidiaries, including Edward Lines Gathering LLC, for the abatement of ad valorem property taxes on investments made within the Karnes County Energy Transfer KDB reinvestment zone, subject to the requisite capital investment, job creation, and wage provision therein. Ross? Thank you.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. As you know, I've been working with Energy Transfer trying to negotiate the terms of 2 tax levy agreements. One that's referred to as a KDB agreement, one that's referred to as a Kennedy agreement. So I'm going to talk about both of those. They're 2 separate agenda items, but I'll address them both at once. I want to address a couple of things I heard during the public comment session, so I think it's important too. This application was received by the Karnes County Economic Development Office before the guidelines expired in February. And so that's important to know. And the guidelines and the tax abatement guidelines and criteria, which are required to have by statute, expired in February. They have a 2-year lifespan. But what the code says, the tax code says, is that you have to have those on file before you can entertain an application to create a reinvestment zone or an application to grant a tax abatement agreement. And you did that. And it's going to be governed by what was in place at the time. And you did have valid tax abatement guidelines and criteria in place at the time. To do otherwise would be unfair to an applicant if they applied and then you changed the guidelines or renewed them with different standards, and then they would have kind of a moving target to shoot through. So that's why it's important to recognize that that's what it's going to be governed by the criteria that were in place at the time. There were valid guidelines in place at the time, and in both Energy Transfer's applications exceed the minimum investments required by those guidelines. The other thing, this issue of it not being sent to the county clerk, that's not a statutory issue. Your guidelines do say that it says an application may be delivered to the taxing entity by going to the city secretary, by going to the county clerk, or by going to the school district superintendent, I believe. That's in your guidelines and criteria. It's not a statutory recommendation, so it doesn't undermine the application. And before I get into the details of these two agreements, I do want to take a moment. Our law firm has an agreement with the University of Texas Law School where we basically have 2 students each semester that we assign to a client. And I've got 2 law students here, David Marku and Jennifer Goodwillie. And what we'd like to do is, because your tax abatement guidelines and criteria are expired and because they don't reflect, they were adopted before you're dealing with a lot of the issues that you're dealing with now, what we'd like to do is come back later this month and do a presentation with some recommendations. If you decide you want to renew the guidelines and criteria and have some modernized ones that reflect the industry that you're dealing with and all the explosive growth you're dealing with, and also give you some leverage, using the tax abatement guidelines as leverage to address your issues, whether it's road wear, public safety, jobs, housing, that kind of thing, and use these tax abatement guidelines as a tool when otherwise you're somewhat limited by state law and how much you can do. So with your permission, I'd like to do that later this month. With regard to these two, there's some very standard stuff in these 2 agreements, and Energy Transfer's here to talk about it in detail. The standard terms, these are both proposed as 10-year tax abatements. They have a step-down, declining abatement schedule. Starts at 65% in year 1 and goes to 25% in year 10. That's pretty standard. This also has each of these agreements has some rather unique stuff, and it's stuff that we've negotiated with Energy Transfer to put in there, and it's things that I've never seen in any tax abatement agreement before. One of which, we have very beefed up recapture provisions, so in the event they don't create the jobs they say they're going to create, they'll have to refund that tax abatement money. If they pack up and leave, they'll have to refund tax abatement money. If they don't make the required investment in the reinvestment zone, they have to refund that abatement money. What's different about these two is that we have contractually obligated, in the event you see fit to adopt this, Energy Transfer to make improvements outside the reinvestment zone. And why that's important is that it's taxable money. So they're going to put infrastructure in place to get to the reinvestment zone, and the county is going to be able to tax that. And in fact, in the KDB proposal, the investment outside the reinvestment zone is larger than what they're putting in the reinvestment zone. And they've contractually agreed to do that. So in the event they don't put in that taxable property outside the reinvestment zone, but still in Karnes County, they'd be in default of the agreement. And you could terminate it and not grant them any money or give back whatever you abated them prior to that. So that's a unique provision that I've never seen it in one before. The other is that they've agreed to essentially cash payment in each of these agreements, where they pay the county $100,000 a year for the first 3 years of the agreement. So $300,000 per agreement, or a total of $600,000 that's dedicated to road maintenance in an effort to offset any issues dealing with road with road problems. So those are sort of the unique components of this. I feel confident that everything legally that has to be done as a prerequisite has been done. I sent copies of the agreements. You got copies from my office, but I also sent, as required by the tax code, copies to each taxing entity, school districts, the river districts. We have a lot of them here, but all the different taxing entities have gotten copies of this and been made aware of the hearing today. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or I'm happy to I know Mr. Shum is here on behalf of Energy Transfer. I think he has brought some, I volunteer you for that, some numbers about road maintenance expenditures to date. So I'll turn that over to him, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Shaw, Commissioners, good morning. So as Ross mentioned, I do have some documentation for the first series of road improvements. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and pass that out to the court. And this is explicitly labeled for the KDB plant and for the Kennedy plant.
It's both of them?
Yes, ma'am. Top should be Kennedy, bottom should be Kennedy.
Thank you.
So as Ross mentioned, we did have documentation passed out to the Commissioners Court this morning for road spend on improvements related to the KDB and Kennedy plants. We had mentioned this, I think, in a prior public hearing that we had attended. And the total for that spend, which has already taken place, is $377,000 on the KDB plant and $390,000 roughly for the Kennedy plant. So we're sitting at a total that has already been spent of $775,000 for road improvements, just road improvements, related to the construction of both of those plants, prepping the pads and prepping the roads. In addition to that $775,000, which continues to grow and will continue to grow, the company is committed to the $100,000 annual payment per year for the first 3 years of the construction of both of those plants, for a total of $600,000. And by our estimation, we had originally applied for a tax abatement of 95% in year one, according to the guidelines and what was possible under the county guidelines. In these two abatement agreements, that has been stepped down to $65,000. Is that right, Ross? 65,000 in year one?
65% in year one.
I'm sorry, 65% in year one, thank you. And so at that percentage in year one, we actually lose money in year one. The county makes more than the transfer would have realized the net benefit in year one. So I will sort of enumerate some of the benefits of this as we head down the list. The road improvements to date, $775,000. The road improvements future guaranteed under both plants is $600,000. At least 20 jobs, direct jobs. And if you just do a one-to-one multiplier, which any economist would argue is a relatively conservative and safe bet for the county, you get 40 indirect jobs. That's a job related to making tools or delivering fuel or doing any of the other jobs that would support the infrastructure being put in place by Energy Transfer. The county realizes at least $200 million, in eligible property. That's property that gets installed within the reinvestment zones. The county, in addition to that, as Ross alluded to, $200 million in ineligible, fully taxable property. And that's something that Energy Transfer has committed to in the terms of the abatement agreement. The county wage has been on the rise as of late, but Energy Transfer has committed to paying wages at the operation for both plants that exceed the average county wage by $10,000 for a $55,000 average wage for at least the term of the agreement. That wage will actually be paid in year one, and you can probably expect a 2 to 3% cost of living increase on the $55,000 wage over 10 years. The company is also committed to public safety training. As a part of the agreement, it will internally train its employees on how to use roads safely, how to use trucks safely, how to ingress and egress from the plant safely, making sure that the residents of Karnes County that live in these areas specific to the plants are safe. The plant itself, depending on the market, has a 20 to 30 year lifespan. We estimate 25, at least in our tax abatement scenario. So the county will continue to realize revenue from these plants for a very long period of time after the abatement agreement is done. Duff & Phelps has had a long-standing relationship with Energy Transfer, and recently we have been on conference calls that allude to the possibility of phase 2.5 and phase 3 for installations in Karnes County. That could be at the KDB plant, that could be at the Kennedy plant, that could be a totally new facility. There is scheduled capacity for this region, the KDB region, in other words, the Karnes DeWitt B region, that could include a phase 2.5 or a phase 3. Phase 2.5 spend would be roughly $10 to $20 million. A phase 3 spend would essentially double the capacity of one of these plants. And that would be anywhere between another $80 to $100 million in spend. And they're currently going through the site selection process for those right now. So that's, those are what we feel to be the enumerated benefits of the contract. As Ross mentioned, I've been doing abatement agreements for almost 10 years now, and I've never seen a payment that put the company in a disadvantageous position in year one and actually lost money on the agreement. So this is in my professional estimation, an incredible deal for Karnes County, and may result in a lot more capital investment as a result down the road. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
How many employees are you going to have there?
At the KDB or Kennedy plant, combined it'll be at least 20. So yeah, so in the contracts they explicitly state, I think it's 10 and 12.
And are those, do they have to be from Karnes County, or do they don't have to be from Karnes County? What education level are required to be one of those employees? I don't know anything about it, so that's what I'm asking.
Sure. Some of the positions require a high school degree. Some of the positions require a 2 years associate's degree. I'm not sure any of the positions require a 4-year college degree, do they? No, sir. So it would be your experience in the field and your prior experience at other companies, conceivably, I guess, or maybe your experience in school that would allow you to qualify for one of those positions.
What's a roundabout estimate of what they make per year?
In the terms of the contract, they have to make at least $55,000 average wage across the operation. So if you add all the salaries from the 10 people at one plant and the 10 to 12 people at the other plant, they all have to make at least $55,000 once you average them all in.
Okay. So some might be making 80, 90,000, some might be making 30, but
exactly
an average.
Right. Yeah. So you'll have some people that can enter the wage bracket at a lower end, with maybe a high school education, maybe less, depending on their qualifications. And then some people that have been in the industry a long time, maybe field techs that earn a lot more because their experience level is consistent with that type of pay.
So basically you need laborers on it?
You'll need mechanical engineers, you'll need field techs, you'll need people that are familiar with running the operation, you'll need administrative positions, you'll need people to drive trucks. There's a variety of occupational titles that are involved in both plants.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that's good is you don't necessarily have to be an engineer by trade. There are some positions for which they'll hire based on other experience, other treatment, natural gas processing and treatment companies.
How far complete are y'all with building these two plants?
I don't know. I know that a lot of the pad work has gone in. Energy Transfer has to buy a lot of the materials that would be involved in the assembly of these plants, and they have to store them somewhere. So I know that a lot of that equipment has gone into laydown yards. Essentially, what is ready to go is all of the equipment is ready to be assembled and put on site. So it's at least I would say 25% done per plant. If I had to put
so if we don't give you a tax abatement, you're not going to move out?
Energy Transfer seeks partnerships with all of the jurisdictions in which it goes in Texas. And this is, I think, the 5th project that I've worked for Energy Transfer in Texas. So what it wants from communities is a long-term and lasting agreement by which its investment is offset. In other words, they have a reason to come into your community and create that economic partnership with you.
And there's a table attached to the draft abatement agreement which has the improvements and the equipment that will be subject to the tax abatement agreement. It's my understanding that has not been installed. Those improvements that are listed in the schedule.
We don't have a construction schedule attached to so we'd have to talk to a plant manager. We'd have to talk to somebody that's in charge of the construction operations for AT. But We know that a lot of the prep work has been done for the sites. We know at least that much. And as you know, as the financial consultant, I don't often talk to the construction guys. I'm just really in tune with the finance people and trying to make sure that the capital investment and the tax abatement numbers work out. And in other words, Energy Transfer has never built something like this in a county for which they did not receive a tax abatement. It's typically part of the site selection process and their evaluation of cost and what it takes to build a plan. Yes, sir. Any other questions?
With rigs and oil wells, I've been told that, you know, like if we say in the county or our people that do our value assessment of oil wells and stuff, they say it's worth $10 million, and then they write down $10 million and they send it to the oil company. A lot of times they say, well, no, actually, and then they kind of agree on some number. So, like if you don't, your company or any other company, doesn't matter, if you ask for a tax abatement for this much and you're agreeing to everything, if this county or any other county says, well, no, and then I mean, our value that we put on it, you can always contest that. Isn't that correct? I mean,
sure, yes, sir. Any taxpayer can contest. There's a process for contesting the value of a property assigned by the CAD, or the Central Appraisal District. But the beauty of Karnes County is, and this is part of the reason why ET is here, this county knows oil and gas. I mean, the Central Appraisal District is highly familiar with treatment and processing and pipeline and drilling operations. And that's one of the reasons why they come here, is because the business processes are fairly fluid, so they know that they're not going to get a bad shake from the Karnes County Appraisal District. I mean, if you've been going into a county where they had never done oil and gas before, you might expect to go in and butt heads with the Central Appraisal District, or you might expect that they wouldn't have a good way of trying to determine fair market value for the property and do an honest appraisal. But one of the reasons why they're here is because the appraisal district is extremely familiar with this type of operation.
not only that, but we hire Wardlaw and associates to do our oil and gas appraisals.
Yes, so the bigger operations are farmed out to a third party for economic analysis. So the county would rely on those professional parties to render the best possible estimate of appraised value. So typically, you know, the appraisal district is going to say, here's the fairest way to value this. It's, you know, either the cost or the replacement or the income approach, and they'll know, you know, professionally which way to go to make it fair.
And the whole way this thing started, you guys went to Ray, right? Ray Kroll,
yes,
Economic Development, and
yes,
then he's the one that asked us to put it on the agenda.
Right. So we filed our application with Ray, I think in December of 2012 or January. I'm sorry, just December of 2011 or January of 2012. So it's been a while.
And I think the reason people are so apprehensive is the general public says they see the word abatement and they said, well, the commissioners just gave the county away.
Right.
That's always what it comes down to.
Right.
You're saying you're going to lose money the first year. Nobody will hear that. All they're going to hear is the commissioners gave the county away.
Right. And that's why I think the partnership that you're creating with ET. I mean, I see the check up there from Marathon Oil. ET's commitment is 4 times that just for one plant, just in year 1. And I mean, this is a serious amount of money. The reason why we had to postpone from the last public hearing to this public hearing is because this had to go all the way to the top, the highest executive level within ET to approve this. They've never done one of these before, where they would pay out a lump sum cash payment in year 1 per plant for both agreements, and it had to literally go to the CEO's desk for approval. So I would say this is a very advantageous position for Karnes County to be in, especially when we just got through with a bi-weekly conference call with ET talking about other phases for Central Texas.
And Energy Transfer is never built anywhere in no other county in the United States or Texas without a tax abatement?
Not for a facility this size, no sir.
Not this size?
Not this size. No, this is a major investment, hundreds of millions of dollars. Typically, anywhere you deploy infrastructure like that, your team, i.e. Duff and Phelps in this case, is going to come in ahead of time, file the application in December of 2011 or January 2012, start the negotiation process with the county, determine where along their business is a little bit different than, say, a manufacturing company, which absolutely has to go into certain places based on labor force. But this company could have gone anywhere along hundreds of miles of pipeline. This company actually operates in multiple states, so that there have been conversations with the state of Texas to for this processing and treatment inside the state of Texas, because it doesn't necessarily have to, with as close as we are to other states in which ET operates. Louisiana coming first to mind. There's an effort for the state to try and retain a lot of this processing and treatment stuff. And so when you think of it in that context, not only is Karnes County trying to drive more investment here from ET, the state is actually trying to drive more investment from ET to the state of Texas, so that we're not putting infrastructure in Louisiana when it could be incentivized to stay here in the state of Texas.
And what is this project? What is it, 380 something million, 390?
The total capital investment for both projects, the KDB is around 80 million. It'll actually probably be a little bit higher than that, but contractually that's what we put in. The thresholds that we have to meet in the abatement contract dictate somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 million for capital investment in the eligible property that goes inside the zones, and then $200 million for ineligible. So it's almost a mirror, 200 and 200, eligible inside the zone, ineligible outside the zone. So outside the zone will be pipeline, trunk line, CDPs, things that boost pressure to try and get the product into the treatment facility, things like that. So it's a pretty sizable, I mean, when it's all said and done, it'll be probably north of $500 million.
All tax.
No, sir. The 200 million that goes inside the zone. Yeah, the pipeline will definitely be fully taxable outside the zone. Yeah, fully taxable, all jurisdictions, county, road and bridge, hospital, fire, water, everything.
So when it's said and done, what's going to be done? What's the amount that's going to be taxable?
Well, we've run an analysis on that, and I really have no earthly idea. It depends on the value from the, as Commissioner Humble said, from the Central Appraisal District. I think I had, and like I said, I hesitate to put this on record because everything can change based on the amount of capital investment that goes in. Likely to
We're
be
not going to
more.
hold you to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course not.
Once the abatement agreement ends in year, this is a little bit different. Once the abatement agreement ends in year 11, full value assessment on the $90 million investment, this is just the KDB plant, will yield approximately $310,000 in county property tax annually. So it's just the KDB plant, just in year 11. So if you extrapolate that and say, carry that number forward, but decrease it a little bit for depreciation on the plant, you could start off at year 11 with $310,000 for the county, just for the KDB plant. The difference in value between the KDB plant and Kennedy plant is probably an additional 25 to 30% higher on the Kennedy plant. So I mean, it's just a direct ratio. So you would basically take 25 to 30%, add it to the 310,000, and that's in addition to the KDB. That would be for the Kennedy plant too. So you'd be looking at least $500,000 worth of tax revenue in year 11 once the abatement process ends. And the reason we didn't do the years 1 through 10 is because we didn't know what the abatement percentage was going to be. We applied for 95%, 65% is in the contracts today. So that's a pretty huge difference, and the estimate for the court just wouldn't have been valuable. Wouldn't have been valuable for us either, to try and estimate what we would have to pay. So we figured we'd start with where we know the abatement ends.
So it'll decrease 10% each year?
65%,
55, 40,
I believe
Is that what it is, Ross, 10% a year?
65 down to 35, is that?
65 down to 25.
I think it's a 5% step, if I'm not mistaken. Is it?
It would get down lower than that.
I've got the terms of agreement here. It would be 65, 60, 55, 50, all the way down to
5%.
Right.
65 down to 20.
Right.
Mr. Yard, what's your opinion?
Well, I was the one who gave them the chance to apply for tax abatement. I said I was against tax abatements at that time. I'm still against tax abatements. I did some figures on this. I don't have, I didn't know this was on the agenda today. But I didn't feel that we were getting that much. I originally said I would give an abatement over 50%, and it starts at 65. Of course, they have made some concessions at the $100,000 for the road spares. That's more concession, but it doesn't bring it down to 50%. So, as I said, I'm still against tax abatements. It will be some benefit to Karnes County. Be some jobs. There have been a lot of other companies built things here without tax abatement.
And if it's helpful for the court to consider, in addition to the existing road improvements, the $600,000 that Energy Transfer has promised to pay in years 1 through 3, Duff and Phelps, unfortunately we're under a non-disclosure agreement with Energy Transfer for future projects. But as I've alluded to, and as I think is important for the court to consider, Phase 2.5 and Phase 3 are, at least internally at Energy Transfer, contingent upon the economic partnership with the community. So it would probably change their perspective on site selection for Phase 2.5 and Phase 3. As we all know, these things move fast. I mean, the Eagle Ford Shale play is having a pretty intense effect on companies that are having to outcompete other companies and having to rush product to market. And so when they consider where these next phases are going to go, and everybody can read the press about what's been going on in West Texas, including some of the investments that Energy Transfer has made out there, I would like to see an economic partnership put in place that would incentivize ET to come back to Karnes County for more and take a bigger bite of the apple. It would put more capital investment here, more jobs here, more indirect jobs, higher wages. I think it would have a tremendous economic impact on the county. And really the company, like I said, doing these abatement agreements with Duff and Phelps representing them all over the country is part of the process of creating that relationship with the community. And so it entices them to come back and put more capital investment on the ground in places where they can get those economic partnerships.
Typically, any company, yours or any others, if maybe you don't get the tax abatement that you're looking for, do they, companies, yours including and others, do they typically scale down the scope of and size of the plant and the money that you're going to spend to kind of compensate for the lost tax abatement?
They absolutely can. And where you have facilities that go on the borders of counties, if it behooves a company to put more infrastructure that feeds that treatment facility over a mile or two and get an abatement or a lower tax rate in another community, that may be the case. And so if the abatement agreement is not approved, Energy Transfer has the ability to take all of that indirect investment that is related to the two reinvestment zones, put it anywhere they want. They can put CDPs and trunk lines and anything they want outside the county, as long as it still meets their market objectives of delivering natural gas to the market. They can do a lot of advantageous things with putting investment inside counties where it makes more sense, more economic sense.
It just looks to me like, I mean, if I was a company such as Energy Transfer, that this looks like we're going to keep you here for at least 10 years. Right?
Oh, by the terms of the abatement, they have to be. They have to
be here 10 years.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
You're kind of signing a contract to be here for 10 years.
Absolutely.
The way I look at it.
I mean, those are part of the provisions that Ross puts in as part of his job to balance out the benefit to the county with the benefit to the company, so that the company gets net benefit from the partnership, and the county certainly gets it as well. So the county gets a guarantee that with this abatement comes the creation of permanent net new jobs full time for the county, and then like I said, the indirect stuff, all the indirect investment, and the indirect job creation, that's icing on the cake.
Right, and you're actually putting this in writing, that you're gonna be here 10 years.
Yes, sir.
By
Contractually obligated to be here for at least 10 years.
I guess we all know that companies can kind of come and go as they please.
I make a motion to disapprove the ordering authorizing the Karnes County Commissioners Court enter with an agreement with Energy Transfer and subsidiaries, including Edwards Lime Gathering LLC, and abatement of the Valerian property tax and investment made within the Karnes County Energy Transfer KDB reinvestment zone, subject to request capital investment job creation and wager provisions therein.
I don't know what not a motion or anything, but I had a question before we keep going for Ross, because you asked if anybody had a question. I'm sorry, sir. I wanted to hear what you had to say too, and it was great. I have one other question for you, but it's not. It's okay. Ross, my problem was, my concern, I know you explained everything very, very thoroughly. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. But, okay, you said that you had all y'all's paperwork in before February 12, 2012. That was the expiration, that's when it expired, right? The guidelines and criteria. Okay, I personally haven't seen any paperwork. I'm used to usually, I always ask the judge, show it to me in black and white. I always, it's the way I am all the time. And you also said, like, in Carol's office, you didn't have an obligation to send her the paperwork or anything like that, right?
That's right. It was all filed through Ray Kroll's office. That's who that was submitted to.
Yeah, Ray did.
And then a copy was forwarded to our office, and I think to the judge's office. But I know that it came through Ray Kroll's office is where the application was sent.
So the only obligation that that paperwork had to go to was Ray Kroll's?
Statutorily, there's not a requirement.
Okay.
So who it goes.
Okay, that's why the county clerk doesn't have any paper trail on it or anything like that?
That would be the reason, yes, sir.
I have the email for Ray sent it to me, and then they did the reimbursement resolution. Ray asked us to put it on the agenda.
To create the reinvestment zone.
Right.
Right.
And we had never, when you guys did it previously before I got here, Ross did it for y'all. And so then, when we were trying to figure out how to do it again, we did a reimbursement resolution for Ross to be able to do this with Energy Transfer, but they had already filed. And I have the email from Ray. I'm going to get you those emails.
Okay.
Because I put it on the agenda the first time, and then that's when I called Ross, because I didn't, Ray got the application, because he did it for economic development. These guys approached Ray. That's how that happened.
And that's how 90% of our agreements go is through the economic development, either foundation or corp. Mm-hmm. So if there's an EDF like San Antonio, for instance, most small communities in Texas under 50,000 have a corp, an economic development corp, and so that's who we look to first, and that's the person that gets you the wage data, the site selection criteria. If they want to help you find a site, that's typically who you go through, and that's who we always file through for tax abatement applications.
Ross, do most counties that have an abatement, the guidelines and criteria, they have to renew it every 2 years, right?
Right. That's right.
Okay, why didn't we renew it? I'm asking questions because I'm kind of like...
We haven't had anybody file since these guys filed, and these guys filed before this one had not, it hadn't expired. When I sent it to, I called Ross and I said, Ray sent me this bill, because I didn't know what it was. And it was a application for an abatement. I knew what it was.
I know what you mean.
But I didn't know how to go about putting it on the agenda and how to do all that stuff, so I went to Ross. And this was probably, it was early this year. It was very early. Ray already had the application. We've been dealing with this for a while, but they applied to Ray.
Before the expiration date. Yes. So as long as it's there before the expiration date, it doesn't have to be stamped and filed?
Right, and the statute says that, this is a slightly different scenario, but you can't change it. It takes 3/4 vote of the Commissioner's Court to change the terms while they're in place. And the reason behind that is so that an applicant that applies knows what level of investment they have to meet, and they're not subject to changing rules during that 2-year period. Now, this is slightly different because they expired, but the law contemplates that you're going to be governed by the rules that are in place at the time you apply. Because that's what starts off the process of the reinvestment zone, and that's step one. They don't get the reinvestment zone, and they don't get to apply for the, they don't get to pursue the tax abatement agreement is the next step. But they applied in time, and have statutory notices. You have to publish in the paper, you have to do a public hearing for the reinvestment zone, you have to notify all the taxing entities of when the reinvestment zone vote is going to be, and that's what pushed that process into April. We had to follow, once we got their application, we had to process it and then notify, do all notices required to vote on the reinvestment zone.
I wish Ray was here. I didn't even think of it. But Ray felt it was beneficial to the county at the time. And he called me and asked me, that they had filed an application with him. And then that's when Ross said that's where they start. Yeah, they don't start here with us.
And because according to your guidelines, there's the Economic Development Committee that's basically a creature of the Economic Development Corporation Office, and they review it to determine whether an application comports with the guidelines that are in place and whether they think it will be beneficial to the county, and then comes to, or the city, or whoever.
We did get letters of recommendation from the board, the Karnes County Economic Development Board, for both plans. Recommendation to proceed with the tax payment for both plans.
Do you have agreements in place with the school districts? Are you working on that?
Yeah, those are in process.
So anyway, it was Ray's, this is Ray's, they went to Ray for economic development. And then it went through the Economic Development Board. And y'all call it the committee, I call it the board. I think EDC board, right? And then they're the ones that Ray came to the county after they had accepted it.
Okay, in regards to item number 16 on the agenda, I make a motion to approve.
Hold on.
Tracy's got a motion.
Tracy's got a motion.
She has a motion on the board. I'm sorry, I
Nobody
interrupted.
seconded.
No, not yet.
The motion was
Oh, you were gonna second?
No. He said to disapprove, I said to approve.
Okay, he
I'll
said,
second that motion, Tracy's motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
To disapprove.
to disapprove.
Tracy's motion.
Okay, you disapprove giving them
Tax abatement.
a tax abatement. But, okay, let me question this real quick, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. I know this is taking a lot of time and everything, but, okay. You're making a motion to disapprove the tax abatement, but the tax abatement already has been set.
No, I mean, if y'all, depending on what y'all do today, you're voting on whether or not to sign these tax abatement agreements. If you don't sign them, you don't authorize the judge to sign them, then ET doesn't get their tax abatement.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Okay. I'm gonna go with aye with them, because I don't know all the information, that's why I was questioning you, but it's all right.
But we did send to all the commissioners last month copies of.
Yes, I put them in their box.
Do they have a chance to reapply? Then if they reapply, we have to set new rules first, new guidelines?
If they reapply, you would have to adopt guidelines first.
Because now our guidelines.
New guidelines.
Okay, but motion to disapprove carries, we get 3-2. Because Ray did tell me he felt like it was in best interest, so it's 3 to disapprove. Carl and I are against disapproving. Am I correct, Carl?
And then there's the next agenda item.
Number 17 is discuss, approve, disapprove, and order authorizing the Karnes County Commissioners Court to enter into an agreement with Energy Transfer and its subsidiaries, including ETC Texas Pipeline for LLC for the abatement of ad valorem property taxes on investments made of the Karnes County Energy Transfer Reinvestment Zone, subject to the requisite capital investment, job creation, and wage provisions therein.
I make a motion to disapprove.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm opposed. Motion carries 3-2. Number 19 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove possible lease of the county yard to run.
18.
What did I do, Jeffrey? Tracy? 18. Discuss, approve, disapprove Karnes County Road and Bridge Unit System to discuss employee wages and application for employment with Karnes County, and that's Jeff.
Well, we ran applicants, tried to get applicants into the yard. We didn't get the door broke down because we didn't get one applicant in. And for me to make this system work, I think we're going to have to change our wages so we can enhance some people to look at the county, so we can get some people in here to help us work on these roads and stuff, because it ain't happening, and we're falling more and more behind. I got, wherever you go, we're getting asked to work on this road and work on that road. We're covering about maybe 20% of what we're doing right now, and we're getting way behind with everything. So I'm just coming here to see if we can talk, and not only, you know, we're in a construction part of building roads and stuff, and I believe that these people, we're gonna have to pay a little bit more to, so I guess the applicants walking through the door, because this is going downhill for us right now. And a step ahead, we're going to have to find some operators out there, and we're gonna have to pay, kind of get competitive with the companies and stuff. And then farther down the line, when this all starts leveling off and stuff, we've been known, companies been known to lay people off. That may have to happen down the line, but right now we need help, and that's the only way that, in my opinion, we can get it, is pay a little bit more money to get these people to walk through the door. So like I said, we did not get one applicant in while we were on for what, Ms. Gaspick, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We didn't get one applicant, not even one.
Where'd you run it at?
Local papers.
Local papers.
Come back up here, Jeff.
Ma'am?
We're talking up here.
Oh.
Didn't you tell me that this $3 million bond money, you can't even spend it because you don't have the manpower to
I don't have enough man. No, sir. We don't have enough manpower.
So, I mean, and why did we even pass this $3 million bond to fix the roads? We don't have the manpower. So yeah, maybe we got the money for the material, but we don't have do we not have the money for the manpower? Or did we just choose not to spend the money for the manpower to be able to put this material out on the roads and fix the roads?
I got one.
We're talking out of both sides of our mouth here. And in my opinion, we look silly as hell giving them these step raises. They were all happy, and then we took it away. And that's just plain wrong. It's not working, and it's not gonna work until we fix it. I mean, these guys, and when somebody, everybody here knows about how business works. If everybody else is paying $20 starting pay, and we pay 9 or 10, when somebody walks through that door and says, "I got a CDL license," you're thinking to yourself, something's wrong with this guy. Why is he walking in here to work for half pay when he can walk across the street? You know, he's got a CDL, he can go to work. Maybe he's got DWIs, maybe he's got there's something wrong with him. Maybe he doesn't show up for work. Maybe he's just not a good driver, lots of accidents. I mean, if you want quality people, you're gonna have to pay them quality wages. And you're sitting at what, 13 people now? And when we had the 4 precinct system, there were 16 to 20 employees. And we're way below that mark. So, I mean, we got a problem. I mean, and we need to fix it, in my estimation. And
I'm gonna kind of throw my 2 cents in there. And it's nothing toward Jeff, because I know Jeff, I mean, he works his butt off. He tries very, very hard. I know I've seen you, we've talked many, many times, Jeff, and I know that you do your best out there. You got 4 precincts on top of your back. I can only imagine what you're going through out there. I had one for 8 years, and it was hell, and you got 4. I understand that. But we've been through there, and with all due respect, we've been through this, I don't know how many times, we've given raises every year, we've went different things, and every time it's supposed to get fixed, every time we're supposed to have the employees, but every time it's brought back to us, there's another problem, there's another problem, there's another problem, there's another problem. And no disrespect, Jeff, because, you know, I mean, we're friends and longtime friends, and we've both been through it. Not with 4 precincts, but every time, we've always given the raise that, you know, or somewhat the raise, we try our best out here to improve it, but every year, every time, it's coming back to us, and it's not working, maybe it's something else. I don't know what it is, because I don't have 4 precincts on my back, and I know that's extremely hard. But maybe I don't know what it is, I don't know what the answer is, but we've given, Jeff's came up to us and told us this will fix the problem, this will fix the problem, this will fix the problem, and every time we've tried and helped them out, because we know how hard it is out there, but it's not fixing the problem. I have a lot, I'm sorry, Carl.
I'm going to have to apologize. I need to go.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna give you this, James. Can you change places with me? Let me
Sure.
interrupt for 5 seconds. I need James to take over some stuff for me.
We can't be here by ourselves.
And we'll get to vote on it.
What they don't realize is all of those research, they don't be employed. Paying higher wages.
Yeah, it's all
I mean, you don't meet that wage. Listen, this is not, with this, that's all the companies in town, and this is secretary. Did you see that? Absolutely.
And what happened 2 years ago can't happen today.
Right. You figured that out, okay? Sorry, guys. I don't plan to stay scheduled.
No problem.
All right.
We gave them a whole house, we lost it. That's how we got to grow.
All right, no, the problem is that, I know Jeff's been doing great, I have no problem with Jeff at all, and all the employees that I know they work really, really, really hard. I don't know what the answer is, Jeff, because I don't know if it's just money, I really don't know if it's just money or not, because I have a lot of people that come in, because I have a business, I associate with a lot of people, and a lot of people come in making 17, 18, 19, 20 bucks an hour, and they quit these company jobs in the oil fields. I mean, I know, I associate with these people every day of my life. I said, what were you making, man? 15, 50, 17 bucks an hour. I go, what happened? They go, oh, this, for whatever reasons they have, they quit jobs making all amounts of
Usually
money.
because they fail a drug test.
Well, no, it's true. I mean, I have friends that don't do drugs too, you know. But the thing is that, you know, it's not just, it could be that, but. Hey, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It could be that, but a lot of reasons, sir. It's different reasons. I can't say that because they're like companies. I mean, I don't want to. I can't pinpoint the reason, but there's different reasons that they quit. All kinds. If it's either it's because of equipment, it's because of the higher people than them. For whatever reason, that they work too many hours. They don't got time to spend with their family. Whatever reason it is, they quit jobs making 12 bucks an hour, 10 bucks an hour, $15 an hour. And I know I have some friends that make 10, 50, 11 bucks roustabouts in these oil companies. They've been there over a year, 2 years. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I really, really don't know what the answer is. You know where I'm coming from, Jeff? I'm not disrespecting y'all in any way, but I would be telling anybody that it's like the sheriff, we went ahead and gave him, I think he has, I don't know if he's fully employed or not right now, but we gave him when he needed and everything. And we try to keep up with it, keep up with you and everything, but I really don't have the answer for that. I just think that if we give them more money and more money and more money, they're still gonna, people are just still gonna quit. They do it to these oil companies all the time.
I'm not talking about the guys, my guys quit. I'm trying to get people to come to
No,
work.
I understand, or people that wanna come in. They're either gonna come in to work because they wanna work, or they're gonna, like I said, I got friends that quit jobs making 20 bucks an hour, and they're sitting at home when they could have went back. They just don't wanna do it.
Well, you're talking as a business owner, right? And a businessman.
I'm talking as a commissioner right now.
You're a businessman and you're a business owner, right?
Yes, sir.
You have people that work for you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you pay whatever you pay.
Yes, sir.
But let's just suppose you didn't. You punched the clock every day. Okay? You had a job making $20 an hour. When you come home, you tell your wife, honey, I quit that $20 an hour job. I'm now making $9.50. She's going to say, well, honey, why did you quit? Well, honey, I'm tired of working weekends. You think your wife's going to be happy with you?
If she loves you, she will.
You know, I think what I'm saying here is we gave a step raise and then we took it away. Is that correct? I mean, that's my understanding. I think that's what we did, right? We gave him the step raise that he said would fix his department, and then we took it away in another meeting. Okay? And what I said is what I'm saying now. You give them something and then take it away, that's wrong. If you're going to give it to them, give it to everybody. Everybody. And that's what I said. And I told these girls that work in these offices to come back with a step program raise the next day. Road and Bridge did it in 3 hours. I think these ladies could have done it maybe in 3 days, maybe in 6 hours. I don't know. But these guys at Road and Bridge pulled it off in 3 hours. Okay, you took it away from Road and Bridge. Why don't you take it away from the Sheriff's Department? They have a step raise. They have Tahoes. They got all this money. You gave it to them. Take it away from them and see what happens. Then you don't have any deputies, and people are getting robbed. Then you're having wrecks, and you don't have any deputies to send there. And you got a big problem. He has the same problem. But the reason he has a problem is you gave him something, everybody was fine, he could hire people, he would get applicants. Now, he can't hire anybody, he only can't even keep the people that he has. He can't spend the $3 million in bond money because he doesn't have any manpower.
Well, I'm sorry. Everybody wasn't fine because the other departments weren't fine, so everybody was fine within his department. It's not stated that everybody's fine within all the departments. I'm sorry. Right?
The Sheriff's Department has had the step raises for ever since I've been here, which was in 2007, and I'm not sure when that was implemented, and Luana might be able to exaggerate on that a little bit. We didn't go in and do the step raises for all the ladies in the clerk's department because we didn't want to shortchange ourselves. We were trying to meet a deadline that I believe the county auditor had all asked us to bring it to her maybe in June. That presentation for the step program, for the second or third presentation from the Road and Bridge was done 2 weeks before we needed to file the budget. And we'll want to jump in anytime when I'm getting dates wrong. The meeting before, the Monday before the budget needed to be filed on Friday, we had asked to go back to what was agreed on August 31st, which was $1 an hour for everybody, 5% on the elected officials. Road and Bridge and Sheriff's Department were given large raises last year. We said, yes, we will get together. I think I stood up and said, we will get together in January, form a committee, make it favorable to everybody. I didn't want to go in and give somebody a $2 an hour raise and this other person a $1 an hour raise or the same raise, and they're not equal to each other. Maybe this person's been here for 2 years and you're going to give a 2-year employee the same as a 10-year employee. Well, that's not right. We didn't want to shortchange ourselves. That's why we waited. So don't jump on us about not doing a step program, Carl, because I have one employee. Why would I need a step program for starters?
Okay,
Secondly, I'm talking. I am talking. You've been a commissioner for 4 years, so why have you not done the step program yourself?
I don't think it's up to the Commissioner's Court to implement
I am talking. I'm talking. I'm talking.
But you asked him a question.
And he's not going to answer.
Please not get on that.
So basically,
You're not the bailiff,
we didn't do that out of fairness to everybody. Is why. So it was back and forth. They had plenty of time to make those presentations back in June to us. I know they work hard. We all work hard. Large raises were given again to Road and Bridge last year in the Sheriff's Department. We just wanted equality.
Thank you, Lonnie.
As far as I can tell, you're against anybody getting a raise if you don't get it. You didn't want Luana and Michelle and Leanna to get a raise, and you came here and just cried against that too.
That's speculation, and
No,
I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this. I apologize, but let's not. Please help me out here to keep order. We're all in this together. And thank y'all very much for helping me.
But what do we need to do, Jeff?
What's your?
We need to put money in there to hire four good people. What do you want to do?
Well, the only way I see it to get quality people, and you get quality people, the quality people pay for themselves versus what we're paying, because I can't get nobody through the door, and that's the problem. We can't get anybody to walk through the door to help us out.
Is that on everything, Jeff? That's
Well,
on truck drivers, maintainer. You're having a problem with every
we had that one guy here a while back that we trained, and everything was going good, and he started driving a truck. He got his CDL, and he was out the door. He's not going to hang around and work when he can go make $22 an hour somewhere else. And I'm not saying pay $22 an hour. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking, we're going to have to do something here so we can take care of the county. And because we're not doing it. And I get cussed from sun up to sun down by people, and it's getting old.
Okay, let me ask you this question. If we hire, say we put in a deal for 4 guys, and say for instance, it's around number $18 an hour. Now what about the other guys you got
Well, that's
working
what I'm
out there? Are
saying.
they all gonna get pissed off?
Well, you know that's gonna happen.
And they're,
Excuse my language.
That's quite all right.
Well, you're right.
So what are you gonna do? You're in a catch-22 situation where we were 3 months ago.
Same place. And that's why I'm bringing it back up. I wanna
You
see
don't want
what y'all think we need to do.
I gotta do something, because we ain't got nobody. You got about 8.5 hands down there.
Exactly.
Let me ask y'all this, as a court. We voted, was it 4-1 to give them the step raise? If it was right that day, if it was the right decision for the county that day, why was it not, and it's still not right for the county and Road and Bridge? I mean,
Because of the dissension of all the other employees in the county.
Exactly.
And the other employees in the county need to come up with their step raise, we can prove it all at one time.
that's exactly right.
I'm here, I'm not only
And this,
asking,
you know-
I'm not only asking for me, I think everybody else needs to be involved in it too.
Where's that wage survey that we
That's the other
away the
thing I
money
was
for?
asking.
Where is it at? It needs to come into play.
Well, you know, we always say, run the county like a business, okay? I think everybody here agrees with that. You included, James. I mean, you have employees, and, okay, well, let's do that. When we were at Chevron, and they get called into the office, and boss says, hey, I'm gonna give you a raise. There wasn't 30 or 40 other people in that room screaming, no, Carl doesn't deserve that raise. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is just nothing more than a circus. When we're up here trying to make a business decision, and the man that's in charge of that department says, this is what I need, and you approve it, then you take it back. Hey, all these other people screaming no, you can't always listen to 40 people out there, because nobody, I mean, once you make a decision, that's your decision, not theirs. Right or wrong, it's your decision. And I don't care if they throw rotten tomatoes at you. No, I mean, you're trying to fix this department and make this county run like a business, and you know it's not. These roads are not going to, you can't even spend the $3 million in bond money material. Can't even do it.
Artie, let me ask a question, please. Jeff, is it possible to hire a contract to help to do this work until we get either the salary survey or everyone comes up with the step raise at one time? Is it possible to hire any contract help?
I need to do something. I
How
definitely
you
need to
gonna
do
find any
something.
contracts?
But we don't, just like
You're gonna pay all field wages?
because that's exactly what you're gonna pay.
Contractor?
You ain't gonna get nobody to work for us, not unless you're gonna give them a lot of money.
We'll get them kind of close, because, I mean, you're off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they're not really on call. So, if I was working for, like, say,